Hey everyone, today I want to talk about OpenCode. So we'll try setting this up in our local WSL because I only use WSL. So OpenCode is a open source AI coding agent and basically it's very popular, especially because it's open source and it's really competing against professional or pro IDEs or CLI out there. So we're going to try setting this up and see how long it takes. And you can also look at the GitHub code, which is very active right now. You can see last updated 4 hours ago. And by the time I upload this video, there will be way more commits, I'm assuming. Okay, so let's try setting up the CLI mode right now. You can see it even says that for the best experience on Windows, they recommend using WSL. Great, good for me. And I can go from here. First of all, let me open this is my previous video I was working on. In case you want to check out, this is the video, but let's just try setting it up on my local WSL. I want to install with this command. Okay, so we have OpenCode ready, and there are other ways you can install it, but right now I'm just going with a simple one. Let's just try opening it, and you get this error, which just means that you might have to just source that bash RC. I guess that was it. Make sure you source. All right, we have all the updates here. You can look at the commands by pressing Control P as it says here, but it's going here. Interesting. It's opening from. Let me open in the terminal and see if that works. So I have my Windows terminal. And let me just go into my workspace and MCP because that's where I was, and open code again. Okay, and now if I do Control P, I guess that works. So anti-gravity has shortcuts which are overriding the open code shortcut. So just something we should know. Open editor, switch session. So these are the free models out there. I have no idea about these. I'll have to look into it. And if you want to use the OpenAI or other options, I guess you have to give your API key. We'll try setting that up later, but let's just try seeing. Can you explain this current project? Okay, this is ready. So it's able to go through the project and show me what it can do. Let's see if we can actually make changes. Let me ask it to calculate the square root of a number. Okay, I guess it did something. Obviously, this is a very simple change. So I was hoping it could do that. So it does do it. It's also verifying if the syntax is correct. The syntax is valid. Okay, good. So I guess we have the open code running. Now let's see what else we can do. Talks about slash init. We can do slash init. Let's try that. Let's see how it looks like. Okay, this is good. So this was the basic setup which we were talking about. So that was one way to install OpenCode through your CLI and you can do whatever with it. And then there's one way of using extensions. So let's try setting up an extension in VS Code. So all you have to do is go to your extension, you look for OpenCode, and you can see there's like a lot of OpenCode options and they do different things. So they all may not be trustworthy, but just be careful while you're choosing it. So you want to look for OpenCode for VS Code, which is this one. So you can install this. So in order to use this, you can just directly use Command Escape. Let's see if that works. The Control Escape doesn't work, but you can open code here. And there you go. You have the open code running. And let's say if this wasn't working, you can also type OpenCode serve, which allows you to give you a GUI. So you can actually point a web browser to the WSL location. So it says you can do Control Shift Escape, but when I do Control Shift Escape, it opens up all the task running, which is Windows shortcut. So I'll check how we can remove that. But basically, you should be able to make changes now. Let me get some prime numbers. So you have different ways of using OpenCode, of course, and then you can also do it in anti-gravity. So similarly, you can also do it in different IDEs. Let me show an example of anti-gravity. So you go into extensions, you look for OpenCode again. It's installed and you can also get open code. So you have anti-gravity here, open code here, which is beautiful. And then you can do the reverse thing, which is basically using the anti-gravity models or Google or Gemini models into open code. So let me show that how we can do that. So you create a file, config opencode JSON, and then you give these two details, the schema and plugin. I'll put that in description. And then if you log in with OpenCode auth login, it will ask for a bunch of things. So we have to add credential. So the first thing is course OAuth with Google. So you can leave it blank to point to your default project because that's most of us are using. If you have something specific, you can do that. And then you have to authenticate by clicking on that URL. So Google will confirm that that's the account you're trying to use. So basically it's a Gemini API, not anti-gravity API. So that's one thing to remember. Now let's go to the open code. There you go. You have models from Gemini now. So all the anti-gravity models are available. Awesome. Oh, this is interesting. We can do a lot more now. And just to confirm that these are from Google, you can always go back just to check removing the plugin which we created and try restarting OpenCode and see what happens. And if you look at models, that's all we have, which is awesome. And now if I go back here, this is just to prove that I didn't do any magic. It was actually that the updated JSON file in which made it happen. So if I restart OpenCode again, I'm assuming I'm gonna get those models again. Okay, so there you go. You have access to these. I think they'll still be limited. I don't know about these Gamma 4 models, so we'll see if that works. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. This is just the OpenCode setup in some of the apps. You can also do it probably in other IDE. This is just for the start, and I'll follow up with more OpenCode videos. Thank you so much.